How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at 13 Ghost, the original version from 1960. This is directed and produced by William Castle and stars Donald Woods, Joe Morrow, Charles Herbert, and also Margaret Hamilton, who you guys may know as the Wicked Witch of the West from Wizard of Oz. She plays a housekeeper in this movie who the young boy mistakes for a witch, so funny casting there. But anyway, this is one of those movies that does get overshadowed by its remake. In fact, this is one that a lot of people don't know had an original, and that is a little bit sad, but I do find that both versions of 13 Ghost kind of do their own things, and I do appreciate both of them in their own ways. The remake of 13 Ghost was about doing spectacle for its time period. It had really cool over-the-top ghost designs and set designs, and the remake is pretty cool, but the original was about doing spectacle for its time period, for the 1960s, and it really is cool. The way it builds up this haunted house is so classic, and there's such reverence for it. Oh, we're going to go into the house of a man who collected ghosts. Surely the ghost can't be real. And then the ghosts really do run around and wreak a lot of havoc. Things are gonna float around, ghosts are gonna get fun little sequences and pull off a ton of gags. There's a lot of special effects work, and yeah, you can tell they were trying to impress the audience, give them a good show, and I really do appreciate that. As I said at the top, this was directed by William Castle, and he's quite known for his gimmicks. The skeletons flying through the air during House on Haunted Hill, the vibrating seats, and the tingler. And this one had a really interesting gimmick behind it as well. Illusion-O. The idea with Illusion-O is you'd have these paper glasses shaped like a ghost, and the real world would be tinted blue, and the ghost world would be tinted red, and you could look through the blue slit and see the real world, or look through the red slit and see the ghost world. A really fun, cheesy little idea there, but it's something I really appreciate. I love the energy that William Castle put into all his movies, and you can tell he was someone trying to really put on a show, and that really does show up in here. Now, yeah, it is pretty campy by today's standards, but that does lead to part of its charm, telling this old school, really classically styled ghost story, getting all those nice and fun tropes, and then running around and doing fun ghost sequences. This is a really fun ghost movie, and because it's not super graphic or anything, it's also really good for younger audiences that want a horror movie. So yeah, definitely check this out. Really fun, really classic. Maybe not the scariest thing ever, but a super enjoyable time. And I do love the remake as well, but this is totally its own thing. Don't go in expecting it to be like the remake, but I would definitely recommend checking both versions out, because this is so super different. But I really did wind up loving this. But I guess before we get too far into it, what's the movie about? I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to break down and analyze a few things and say my piece on a few plot points, so I'll be avoiding the end bits. I won't ruin anything major. Again, no significant spoilers, but from here on out, let's take a bit of a deeper dive. We open up with this family, a mom, a dad, an older sister, and a younger boy, and the dad works at the museum. He's really good at his job, but the museum can't afford to pay him too much, and we get this entertaining sequence. It's done in split screen, where he's calling his wife on the phone, and as he's calling her, you literally see the people in the background taking all their furniture away. A really interesting way to show that sequence. Well, then we cut to the younger boy's birthday party, and they're literally having the party on the ground, like putting the cake on the floor and just sitting sitting in a circle around it. Again, a really good way to illustrate the concept. It's just such an iconic scene. He gets a book all about ghost stories for his birthday, really does set the mood. And when he wishes for a new house with furniture, the wind blows in from the window and blows out the candles itself right before the creepiest telegraph delivery boy ever comes in. And yeah, it really just does a good job setting the stage. They respond to the telegram. He's worried it's someone he owes money to, but no, it's this lawyer, Benjamin Rush. What a cool name there. And it turns out the lawyer says, your uncle recently passed away and left you his house. And again, we get a bunch of cool lore stuff. The guy knew he had a rich uncle, but thought he died a long time ago, but was secretly living in the same state as him, and just didn't tell him he was still alive. Of course, we get the classic condition that you can only have the house as long as you actually stay in it. And then the shoe drops. It turns out his rich uncle was a collector, but not a collector of anything normal, a collector of ghosts. He had been traveling the world, catching ghosts, and bringing them back to his mansion. Oh man, such a setup there. And then on top of that, he does get a package from his uncle. He opens it up and it's a pair of glasses, special design glasses to see ghosts. It's such a cool gimmick, you know, it lets them see the ghost better so we can do more sequences. And this also is tied to the Illusion-O gimmick. The idea is whenever a character in the movie puts on the glasses, you're supposed to as well. Although that being said, they are incredibly dorky looking glasses, but whatever. That again leads to the movie's charm. Well, of course they're going to go into the mansion and they're going to dismiss the ghost at first, but we get classic wacky antics. They find a Ouija board hidden in a secret compartment. Got to love secret compartments and passageways and stuff. And of course we get a fun wacky sequence with the Ouija board and a bunch of other wacky antics as well. William Castle always wants to impress you. You're gonna get lots of stuff floating through the air, classic props on wires, but they had the idea to attach them to 2 wires so they could control the movements better. Again, lots of really fun stuff, but then of course we do get the ghosts themselves, and I really do like the ghost. The opening of this movie gave us little paintings of each ghost and their number, and of course you get to the last ghost and it's a big question mark. Who is the 13th ghost? I will say the remake did a better job at kind of getting more mileage out of all the ghosts, because sadly, some of the ghosts don't have too terribly much backstory or screen time. Like, for example, there's a really cool chef ghost. He's a really cartoony chef. Big hat and mustache and butcher's knife, the whole 9 yards. He's a fun ghost who has a really fun sequence, but sadly with a lot of the ghosts it really is about just doing the one sequence. They say, oh, he gets angry sometimes but then he calms down, and we don't really see the chef ghost too much outside of this sequence, and I really wish we got more screen time out of all of the ghosts. I mean, for example, there's cool ghosts like a hanging woman or a skeleton on fire, and I would love to learn so much more about them or see them more, but sadly, again, we don't get too terribly much mileage out of each individual ghost, and they are mainly just for sequences. I wish we got each one's backstory. I would love to dig into these guys more because they are so cool, but oh well. We also get this subplot going with the idea that the uncle had turned all of his assets into cash, and they're hidden somewhere inside the house, so a good little MacGuffin treasure hunt thing there, and there is a fair bit of decent drama with this subplot, but to be honest, I do wish we spent more time with the ghost. Maybe that is kind of immaturity, but that is kind of what the movie leans into more, being campy and fun and over the top. Oh well. As I said at the top, I really do love 13 Ghosts. It's such a good example of a classic cheesy horror movie, and if you guys haven't seen it, again, don't expect the remake. Expect something much more classic, but going in for that right mindset, it is such a fun movie, and I definitely recommend it. For real, go check this thing out. It's super cool. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom if you guys want to see me talk about more movies kind of like this. You can click right there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.